Anyway, moving on to MMA. Boo. Wow. Okay,
and I'm not booing talent. I'm booing lack of effort. This card was on paper very talented. I expected a lot.
UFC 130, just to let you guys know.
Me personally, I was let down.
Yeah, it was a disappointment.
It was. There was a lot of talent on the card, but none of it showed up, in my opinion. At least the big name, the co-main event that was supposed to be Mir in Big Country. But we'll get to it. We'll start with this.
Miguel Torres. Miguel Torres went out on Twitter after his fight and said, "Sorry, fans, I let you down by letting the fight go to the refs." By the time we got to the final match, his story had changed because 3 of his people was pumping up his head, talking about, "Oh, you should have won the fight." He goes, and follow him on Twitter, "I watched my fight, and I got a bad decision." No. Your bad decision was letting it get to the refs. I don't know how long it's going to take till you fighters understand that you better finish the fucking fight. Mikael Torres. He's a Russian Hispanic. Wow. What kind of flag does this motherfucker have?
Right.
Red, green, blue, white.
What kind of flags does this motherfucker have? What kind of flags does this motherfucker have?
Drinking some vodka.
God damn, Trey. You just
got a Mexican polar bear?
Straight box on his ass. Anyway,
wow.
I mean,
Mikael Torres.
Miguel Torres did not press the action at all.
Nope.
It wasn't, in my opinion, I watched that fight and I said,
UFC 130.
It really was. I looked at the fight and I basically said, okay, if they give Miguel Torres this decision, it's fucked up. I'm like, it would be only because of his name and stuff like this, but he got beat. It was a unanimous decision. It wasn't a split decision. It was a unanimous decision. It went the right way.
He hasn't fought a good fight since he left WEC.
Yeah, in his last fight in the WEC.
Yeah,
good.
People are realizing that if you're a good wrestler, you can take Miguel Torres to the ground and control him. You know what I mean?
I don't think he's that strong for his weight.
He's not.
I mean, he relied on his striking and his quickness.
He's just not. He's not. So, you know what? I'm sorry, but you know what? Demetrius Johnson, hats off to him. He fought a good fight. He did it the right way. He dismantled the guy, and he won the fight. Now, moving on to the American war hero, Brian Stann. He looked awesome.
Yeah. His stand-up has come so far. His overall MMA game has come so far, and I wish him nothing but the best, but you will never hold the belt at 185 as long as Anderson's there.
Right. He is 3-0 after beating Jorge Santiago tonight. But, like you said, he's in a class
I think
where
he's got
Anderson's,
one loss in the UFC. Stan does. I think he's like 5-1 now.
5-1. He hasn't lost at middles though. Okay. He's 3-0 in the middleweight category. He looked awesome. He's improved every fight. He's strong.
He's in Greg Jackson's camp.
Yep.
I mean, I bet he's
taking the right steps.
Yeah, he's doing well. I wish him the best. Yeah. Good luck at the 185-pound weight class.
Now, the next fight was Thiago Alves versus Rick Story. Now, when Rick Story walked into the ring, Jimmy and I both looked at each other and was like, that looks like a tough motherfucker. He just looks crazy. He just looks crazy and kind of tough. And
dude, he took Thiago Alves hit him with the sink, refrigerator, a wrench, and that Bama just
and your mom's left butt cheek, son.
That thing's huge.
Yeah. It still didn't hurt him.
Anyway, everyone out. One of the big rumblings in MMA was
rumblings.
One of the rumblings, undercurrents, rumblings is for some of these fights to go. Jimmy's mom's cooking, man.
George, I'm gonna tell you, fuck the show right now, because we're just gonna talk about George's ass. This motherfucker comes up into my house, okay? When
at least the water's on.
Right, the water's on. He comes up into my house and says, "You know what, man? Which toilet do you want me to fuck up?" You know? And so Jimmy's sitting on my couch, and this motherfucker steadily shit in my bathroom, and Jimmy just goes, "Oh." Oh, shit. It just climbed up the back of Jimmy's neck and smacked him in the back of his fucking head as you giggled in the bathroom.
I was tapping out.
Then, after he fucked up my bathroom downstairs, this motherfucker decides I'm going to fuck up another bathroom. He's fucking methodically going through my house, destroying every bathroom with your funky ass because you ate that Mexican food last night.
Dude, anyone ever eat at Rosa Mexicano and you eat the green salsa, and that shit is hot and it hurts, but it was so good.
Yeah, this is coming out your hot ass sphincter. Anyway.
Thiago Alves hit that man with everything under the sun and just couldn't. Thiago Alves, they said during the presentation that he is the best wrestler at American Top Team.
Wow. They don't focus on wrestling.
Yeah, they're not. They must not be. I mean, I ain't taking nothing away from that. their team and everything, but he had nothing for Rick Story really.
No.
And what
I was getting to before I was cut off, the grumblings and undertones of the fucking MMA is they want to get some of these fights to be 5 rounds. If the Story fight goes 5 rounds, he'd have lost.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he was done after 3.
Yeah, so I will.
If that match goes 5 rounds, but then how do you
Alves was starting to figure him out. You're right. About
I guess what they want is the main event tonight should have gone 5 rounds.
Oh no.
Now I'm gonna tell you what. The one thing about Rick's Story is we all agreed on that motherfucker has a jaw made of I don't know what the fuck whatever Wolverine has. Was that what the guy Twitter does? Adamantium or whatever the shit he has.
How do you be a comic book head and you don't know what adamantium is?
I don't know exactly the name of the metal in the Wolverine, man. I don't give a fuck about that shit. Did you see Thor? No. He was twirling the shit out of his hammer, just fucking shit up, man. It's awesome.
Somebody asked if you saw
Hawkeye was in it too.
Who? From MASH?
Why do you? No, man. Hawkeye the Avenger, man. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? What did he say? He said, I'm the only brother to see Thor. Shoot, man. Brothers love comics. You know how many brothers in New York City?
3
million. Anyway, Rick's Story, we all agree that motherfucker has some heart.
Yeah.
He can take a fucking punch. He has got a jaw, and
it'd be interesting. I'd like to see what happens when he fights somebody a little more well-rounded at 170 pounds. I'm not saying throw him in against Fitch, but
now Fitch isn't well-rounded.
Fitch has a nasty wrestling game.
Yeah.
Fitch is your number 2. When's the last time we saw John Fitch fight?
Yeah, that's true.
He might have developed a stand-up game.
John Fitch just doesn't have a stand-up game. You know what I'm saying?
We don't know that.
Yeah. Well, speaking of stand-up and tall people and human beings,
woo! Superman is alive and well, and that Bama landed right on Stephen Struve's big ass chin.
He knocked. We did. We said that Brownie was going to. Okay, we said that Brownie, and we know that's not the way you pronounce his name. But
you don't know shit about MMA.
Yeah, well, fuck those people.
Eat a dick.
I don't know, but Brownie came right out of the Betty Crocker box and hit that Bama with a Superman punch and knocked him right back to Amsterdam.
Did you see that big body? He was like,
he just crumbled.
Timber.
It was like, his big ass long body, and then
it was. I mean,
that was fight of the night for me.
That was fight of the night.
Knockout of the night. The story fight for me was the fight of the night.
Story fight was fight night, but that was definitely knockout of the night.
Better than the Stan one?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Travis Brown had a nasty fucking knockout, man. And I mean, he's improved to 11-0.
Yeah.
11-0-1.
11-0-1. So he looks pretty sharp. I mean,
I think he should fight the winner of this next match we're going to talk about.
That's a good point.
And then when he wins that fight, he was literally top 3 or 4 in the heavyweights.
Yeah, you got a good point. So the next fight we're talking about is.
Did you see what Antonio Bigfoot Silva said about Brock Lesnar?
No.
That Bama said Brock Lesnar is faking it because he's scared to fight Dos Santos.
Wow.
That is.
Now I'm gonna just let you guys, all you trolls out there, realize that Antonio Bigfoot Silva said that shit. Not fucking George, not Kevin, not Jimmy. Okay. Because they'll be like this. That's fucked up, man. The guy's really sick. We know the motherfucker's sick, but this guy's trying to say.
I didn't say it. He said it.
Yeah.
That's wow.
Yeah, that's really.
I'm gonna tell you right now, though, Antonio Bigfoot Silva would fuck up Brock Lesnar.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah, if he hit him with a flying jaw punch,
oh my god,
that would be it, shorty. That could crack his skull. I don't give a fuck how big that silverback gorilla is. If he went and hit him, shorty, that would be a wrap. It would be a wrap. I don't know who's in his camp, but if they get him down, if he gets
you know who's training him.
If he gets that down,
you know who's training him, Kevin? Jay Leno. Jay Leno's training that guy.
That makes sense.
Dude,
that makes sense.
Hold on, time out. Can you imagine if Siegel got in his corner and what kind of crazy shit he could teach him with that chin?
Yes, he put those shades on. Bigfoot grows a ponytail, does this shit,
come on, man.
Starts doing some B movies.
Starts hanging out with some sex slaves.
Yeah,
wow. Doing
some real TV. Anyway, true TV. My fault. Anyway, let's get back to fucking UFC 130, which was completely rotten. Anyway, next, speaking of rotten, we're talking about two guys that are Frank Mir and Roy Nelson. Great. Lacking cardio, but not rotten fighters, because these guys are both world-class fighters. They both, at one time or another, held their belt. Roy Nelson in the IFL.
They are world-class fighters in junior high shape.
They're just...
Their win was terrible. Look, if I'm Dana White and I'm not... I would go to Roy Nelson and be like, look, if you want to continue to fight in the UFC, you have to lose 30 to 40 pounds because you looked sloppy as fuck. At the end of the third round, that big motherfucker. At the end of the second round, that big motherfucker was in the corner.
Looked like Tank Abbott.
You know, this is the thing.
That's embarrassing.
This is the thing where you got to look at it as a fighter. Okay, say you're not like Mir. I don't think. Me personally, I mean, I don't think that Mir or Nelson can contend for the belt. I mean, Nelson just lost to Dos Santos. Mir has lost to all the top guys. I mean, Lesnar, Carwin, you know, and so neither one of these guys are in the running for the belt. But but to be an entertaining fighter and stuff like this, you can't gas like that. When you gas like that, that just becomes a boring fight because you're laying on each other, nothing's getting done. You don't have the energy to hurt the other fighter, and it's just not entertaining. People start booing, people just get bored. That's why we're all sleepy as shit right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
are you sleepy?
Frank Mir, if he doesn't finish you in the first round,
yeah,
you know, I mean, he just gasses, punches himself out.
Jimmy's sleepy as shit. Jimmy, are you sleepy?
A little bit.
See, man, these motherfuckers put us to sleep tonight for $54.
And look, we're not hating on the fighters. We all understand you're super talented.
They're fucking
guys,
professional athletes,
and you're top. This is like us criticizing the NFL.
Yeah,
those are the top. I mean, you guys are the top, and you guys also need to understand. This sport is supposed to be somewhat entertaining.
Yeah,
that's not entertaining to me. If I was Roy Nelson and I watched that fight, just me, I would be embarrassed of my it was embarrassing. I
just
felt
because
bad.
at the end of the second round he looked so exhausted, like he just looked so tired. And you know, it's
flailing away.
Yeah,
I mean, they look like two high school girls.
Yeah,
fighting.
Yeah,
and I don't mean that like, I mean, if you've ever watched two high school girls fight, I mean, literally some shit. Yeah. It was bad.
But that's what happens when you lose, when you're just out of shape like that. Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, if they were two nobodies, then okay, it'd be excusable. But these guys are two true fucking fighters.
If they were two nobodies, they'd be out of a job.
Yeah, they would be out of a job. Anyway, now moving on to the main event, which was Quentin Rampage Jackson versus Matt the Hammer Hamill.
Huh?
Matt the Hammer Hamill.
I'm not even going to make any death jokes because I'm going to tell you what, after that performance, that it's not even worth it. I'm not even wasting my time on a guy who's literally going to be out of a job in the next
I'm going to act like I didn't hear that.
Yeah.
I'm seriously, if he continues to fight like that, he's done.
Right.
That shit was almost as embarrassing as Roy Nelson.
Now,
he's throwing punches. Literally, at one point, he threw a punch and went like this.
Right.
If you're throwing a punch and turning your head in hopes not to get hit like this,
he doesn't want to be blinded as well.
Right.
You shouldn't be fighting anymore.
I'm not hearing this. I've got two Georges in the studio with me tonight.
Matt Keller Hamill.
Look, this is the thing. Well, there's other people. You see, you guys think we're bad about the Matt Hamill
I
jokes.
got a question for you.
Who twittered something about Matt Hamill? One of the fighters twittered something.
Yeah, no. One guy said, "Is it bad that I hope Matt Hamill gets hit hard enough that he can hear?" And I said, depending on who you are, you might take offense to that shit.
Who's the guy that crazy? Jason Mayhem Miller.
Yeah, he can't hear his intro music.
Yeah, he said Jason Mayhem Miller goes, I hope technology advances to the point where Matt Hamill can hear how cool his intro music is.
Right, it's fun in games.
That's
people
funny.
Get so bent out of shape about it.
For me, it's not even fun anymore because, dude, after that performance, I hope you're hurt because at least Rampage had the balls to come up and say, I fractured my hand. And that leads me to another point. How in the fuck did you get cleared with a fractured hand?
You can get cleared with a fractured hand.
How?
You can. I mean, it's not, you know, it's not a break and stuff like that.
I understand that, but to me, it's if he goes in there and further. What if he went in there and damaged his hand to the point where he wasn't able to fight anymore?
Yeah, but they're not going to give you X-rays right before you fight. You'd have to go in there and complain.
So that means it's been fractured a while back.
Well, fracture's a crack. It's not a break. You don't.
I'm just saying.
They're not going to.
I find it interesting that he got cleared to fight.
I find it interesting that
Matt Hamill got cleared to fight.
Well, no,
because what he did wasn't fight.
Right.
That was bad.
Yeah, well, I think this is the thing with Matt Hamill. To Matt Hamill's defense, I think that he was a little bit like, oh shit. His game plan was, I'm going to take Rampage down. And once he couldn't do that...
Those were the worst takedown attempts I've ever seen.
Once he couldn't do it...
I'm not even a wrestler and I could come up with better takedowns than that.
Dude, yeah. Jake Shields was going, damn, I'm better than that.
Right.
Jake Shields' takedown attempts are...
Yeah, I mean, but that was the problem. I mean, I think when you look at some of these guys like Rampage and Chuck back in the day, they were just good at stuffing people, and they're pretty strong. And if that's your game plan, and if you're going to be that one-dimensional, say, this is what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this person down. The only person in MMA that comes in there and can do that successfully is GSP. He's like, I will take you down. He takes everybody fucking down. He whips their ass. But this guy couldn't do it, and it looks like it threw him off his game plan.
Okay.
Now, Rampage didn't finish it.
No.
He didn't.
That's the least aggressive I've ever seen him.
What did we say?
We all think, and correct us if we're wrong, because I'm sure somebody out there will disagree with us. Rampage does a lot better when he's constantly being attacked.
Yep.
And Hamill wouldn't. Hamill's like,
yeah. It's like he's like, okay, what I'm gonna do? Like he's waiting, but he's like naturally. It seems like Rampage Jackson is just naturally a good counterpuncher. When you throw things like when Vanderlei's like, whoop, whoop, pop. I mean, he's really good at countering. And it's like if you don't do anything, he's good, but he doesn't seem like he has he doesn't get as aggressive. He doesn't go up push the green light.
I felt that Quentin had multiple opportunities to spin Hamill up against the cage, pin him with one arm, and just beat on him with the other. I mean, not even pin him, but just kind of press off, create a little space, pap, 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 close back in, press off, pap, 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 and he never did it.
Yeah.
And it's so funny to watch Rampage change. He gets all up in your face like he's going to be this ultra, his eyes are narrow, he's all up in your face, he's going to be this ultra aggressive guy, and then when the fight starts, he goes, and then backs up. His eyes get this big because he wants to see everything coming, and he backs up.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how can you be so aggressive 1 minute and then so not the next?
Yeah, it's. I mean, even when he hurt him a couple times, what surprised me about it is like he hurt him and he hurt him bad, but he didn't keep going. Like he hit him like he put like a 3-4 piece combination, and then he would stop. Whereas I was like, wow, why isn't he fucking being more pushing him?
Hamill couldn't hurt him.
What were you gonna say?
I was just gonna say, is it possible to ring Hamill's bell?
That's so in poor taste. And
I just didn't know. Does he hear anything?
I mean, you guys can't hate us.
And now here's a serious question.
Okay, what?
If you're Dana White, what do you do with Matt Hamill? What do you do with Frank Mir and Roy Nelson? Do you sit these guys down and talk to them and explain to them what you need out of them? Do you tell Quentin, look, I mean, I appreciate what you guys did tonight, but this ain't gonna fly. This can't work. Do you tell Miguel Torres, stop fucking crying about the refs and finish the fight?
You know what? Dana White is what amazes me about Dana White, and everybody out there, you can chime in and tell me what you think on the comment board. It is amazing because I look at someone like Anderson Silva, who didn't finish that fight.
And he ripped him.
He ripped him. But then GSP does it. He doesn't rip him. Then it's like he picks his favorites. He rips certain fighters. He doesn't rip certain. Now I can understand if you always rip every champion. If they're the champion, then maybe you have a good argument saying, okay, you're the champion. You hold the belt. You should always be putting on the show and try to finish fights. But look at GSP. I mean, it's like I don't understand. There's no rhyme or reason with that shit.
I think this card has been thoroughly beat to death. For all you MMA heads out there, next Saturday you get the Ultimate Fighter 4 finale, and let me tell you, Anthony Pettis is in for a fucking fight.
Yeah.
Point, period, end of story. He's matched up against Clay Guida, and I love that.
If nothing else, tune in for that fight.
Yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Because Clay Guida, man, in the UFC, he fights everybody
He'll
good.
always have a job.
And you never see him look shitty.
No.
And
do you know he would have added so much value to this card we just watched?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're done with 130, but that was just did not turn out as well as it should.
I mean, just on one more point, the main events over the last so many cards, they're just not that exciting.
Right.
They need some of those big fights that they're selling. They need some excitement out of them.
Yeah.
The most exciting fights are guys that are hungry.
Yeah.
Strikeforce guys, for instance.
The Strikeforce fights look great.
Fedor Henderson got signed.
Yeah.
July 30th.
Oh yeah. And then in the middle of June, you got Overeem and
Rogers
and Barnett.
So you have MMA on the 4th. You have a
11th.
UFC card on the 11th, and then you have a Strikeforce card on the 18th.
And return of Gina Carano alongside that.
It'll be entertaining to see what she does. These guys think I'm going to freak out and rip her, and I've decided, you know what? She's the Boise State of MMA.
Yeah.
And if you don't know what that means, go look up Boise State.
And we're out.